Howdy, partner. How's it going, everyone? I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the only YouTube channel on the internet. And if you're new here, what's poppin'? Come on in. I'm kinda cold. I'm gonna put my blankie over my shoulders. Don't mind me. Also, check out my new phone case. Where's that from? I wonder where that logo's from. That's crazy. Anyway, the second half of Whole Cake Island. I just got done yesterday. I've been letting it stew a little bit, been letting it kind of broil in the back of my mind, trying to collect all my thoughts before I sat down today. And I have a lot of really good things that I have to say about this arc. Y'all were not lying when you said that the back half of the arc was pretty much all action. It was really intense for like 40 chapters, essentially, just nonstop action with only like a brief lull at one point. So it was really hard to put down because it was just like nonstop. Nothing was ever resolving, which was fine by me because I was really into it. But it was just like, oh my God, this is still going. It's still going. Oh my God. And there was like a little bit of a point where it was like almost a detriment where I was like, okay, if Big Mom comes back to the Sunny one more time, it's going to be one time too many. But Oda knew. He knew when the stopping point was, and he never went further than that. But it was like a really long, drawn out, basically just one long escape from Whole Cake Island that just went on for like, I think it was like 30 solid chapters of just like constant action as the Straw Hats were attempting to escape Whole Cake Island after the disastrous attempt on a Big Mom's life. So my thoughts were about to be super chaotic and all over the place because I, for some reason, blanked out and just forgot to take notes as I was actually going through and reading it. So after I was already done is when I went back and kind of collected all my thoughts. So they're really scattered just even in my notes. So it's about to be one really long, super out there ramble that kind of doesn't seem connected. That's probably what's going to happen right now. So I guess we're going to see how that goes. It might be a disaster. Who knows? First thing that comes to mind that I really want to talk about is my goddamn man, Giga Chad Thundercock himself, Jimbei, first son of the sea, because goddamn, he carried the back half of this arc. That man was on fire. First things first, he saves Nami and Luffy from book prison, which is, whatever. It was a cool moment with him returning there. But then, after they set up all the preparations and the big mom assassination attempt is happening, he stares her down like a goddamn beast. And he says, a man should not tremble at the sight of a mere emperor if he's going to be the underling of the future pirate king. Goddamn! Goddamn! I mean, I knew Jimbei had the sauce, but I didn't know he had the sauce like that. And I once again want to thank Racer Rat for the recommendation to watch the anime episode because, Jesus Christ, it was even better in the anime. It was amazing. It was really good in the manga, don't get me wrong, but the anime episode was on another level. That shit was cracked. That was amazing. That moment was so good. I already liked Jimbei a lot, but this really just put him on another level here. He entered top 10 characters for me potentially here, where he stood up to an emperor. He is showing his loyalty so strong in this arc, and it's crazy just how much he became a ride or die for Luffy. I mean, he's I would argue at this point, after everything that he did in this arc, he is close to the same level as Zoro in terms of loyalty, which is saying a lot. And I'm skipping ahead super far, but the fishmen, they come and help out. They want to give Jimbei one last boost as the Straw Hats are on the very, very outskirts of Whole Cake Island. This is the very end. I'm skipping so far, but when the fishmen come and Jimbei's I have to stay back and help them. And Luffy's I am your captain now. You can do this, but we will be waiting in Wano, and I better see you there. What an amazing moment. And actually, that's something that I want to backtrack on a lot, is how Luffy grew as a captain in this arc, because he had a lot of really good moments, showing actual captain qualities and characteristics, because sometimes I feel like Luffy, he can feel almost like a friend to the crew. It's very rare that he actually takes that leadership role and says, we are doing this, you are doing this, and he gives an order. It's rare for him to actually dole out orders, so that when he does, it's super powerful, and it's never something flimsy. It is always something super impactful and super important that he's delivering an order on. And so this moment here, where he is ordering centering around Jimbei, who is a former warlord of the sea, is such a, it gave me chills, dude. It's such a big moment showing how much Luffy has grown as a leader and how much he has grown into that role. It's amazing. What a great moment. And that moment with just Jimbei acknowledging him in that way. Oh, dude, so good. So much character growth in both of them in this arc, and their relationship continues to be amazing. I don't want to get too far into my thoughts about Luffy yet because I want to save most of them for when I talk about his fight with Katakuri, and I don't want to do that right at the beginning because I have a lot that I'll forget to talk about if I just go right into that first. So, let me backtrack real quick, and I want to talk about pudding. If you watched my first Whole Cake Island reaction video, you'll know that I was pretty pissed at the end of it at Pudding. I was pretty mad at her. Not very happy with the ongoings of her character. But I gotta say, man, she turned out to be pretty great. She turned out to be pretty amazing as a character, and I did not expect that at all. I was totally expecting her to continue down the evil route, but then she actually falls in love with Sanji. She actually admires him for his best characteristics. She actually finds the good in him, in a weird way, is at like war with herself, which turns into a comedy bit, but I really appreciate the way that it's presented, where she's like, when we see her backstory finally, we realize that she just like intrinsically doesn't trust people. She intrinsically thinks that they are not going to like her, so she has this shield of not liking them first so that they can't do anything, so that they have no opportunity to harm her. And right when they're about to get married, she shows Sanji her third eye, and he's just like, what a beautiful eye. And it totally breaks down all her barriers because her whole life, she has been basically groomed, or not groomed, that's not the right word, but I guess she's grown to expect that anytime anyone sees that about her, they're going to think it's gross, they're going to think it's creepy, and they're going to reject her for it. But the one time that she fully expects someone to reject her for it, they fully embrace it and love that about her, and I think that's such a great moment. And I was a little sad at the end when she kisses Sanji and then takes his memory of it. I was like, you're going to take that away from him? I get it that like you don't want that connection with him or whatever, but like, you're fulfilling his dream. You wouldn't even be looking for the all blue anymore. It'd be like in Fishman Island when he was like, I found the all blue. It'd be like that. He would be fulfilled. Another character that I was not expecting to like in any capacity at all was Bege. I don't know if that's actually how you say his name, but that's how I'm going to say it. Because when you first meet him, he definitely comes off as like a bad guy, and his motivations are pretty ruthless, and they aren't exactly coming from a good place most of the time. But then seeing how much he actually really loves his family and is doing a lot of what he's doing for them, it was endearing. And also, he helps out the Straw Hats, if not for great reasons. He does it anyway, and he continues to help them even when he doesn't have to. So I grew to like that character a lot in this arc, and I was not expecting that at all. I also love his fruit. The Castle fruit is awesome, dude. It's awesome the way that he can literally put people inside them and they can like come out of his body, and then he can also turn into a castle. Also, his ship was really cool. It's like this giant castle tank that can it's like this amphibious vehicle. It was great. I didn't think his character was going to be so interesting and cool, but he turned out to be like, everything that he was doing was awesome. Like I like him a lot. And honestly, the Castle fruit might be one of my favorite fruits in the entire series because it's just so interesting and unique, and like it has so many different applications I was not expecting. Next up, I would ask for a moment of silence for my man, Pedro. R.I.P. King. He yeets himself into oblivion to save the Straw Hats in their time of need, when all hope is lost, when they're trapped on the shores of Whole Cake Island. He sacrifices himself so that they can escape, so that he can be part of the reason that the new dawn is ushered in. Because we see this little flashback of him interacting with Roger, which anytime we see Roger, I get excited because, God damn it, there's so much that I want to know about that character, and I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that right now. But that moment there was really cool and really emotional there, where Pedro is clearly very, obviously he's willing to die for it. He's very invested in the ushering in of this new age. And I don't know exactly, it felt like he knew something that I didn't know, that we aren't supposed to know as an audience. Maybe there was a little bit of information that we aren't aware of yet that was motivating him. But I really loved that moment. And I didn't think that Pedro was going to have, I didn't think he was going to make me emotional. We barely saw him. He had a couple of moments before then that actually even I can remember at all. And I guess while I'm talking about the minks, I should also mention Carrot going Super Saiyan was pretty cool. I don't remember what they actually call the mode. It's like werewolf mode. That's not what it is either. It's Sulong. Ooh, I just thought of it. Sulong mode. I didn't see that coming at all. And she went sicko mode, bro. She went hard. She was tearing through those ships. And it's kind of makes me think like, goddamn, if you catch those minks at the wrong time, if you can like mobilize them to all fight at a full moon, goddamn, they'd be unstoppable. I don't know if that's ever going to be like a thing, but it's a thought. That could be something someone tries at some point. Man, I am just jumping all over the place, but that's okay. I'm going to keep doing it. Next up, I want to talk about Nami. She didn't do anything like super crazy in this arc, but she had some really good moments, and I felt like she actually like swayed the course of events quite a few times. Like her actions really saved their asses quite a few times. Like the way that she was feeding Zeus the lightning balls and like pulling him off their trail, and the way that she was able to attack large groups of enemies. And then obviously when she had Big Mom's Vivre card, she was able to like manipulate like the forest and stuff. So I felt like she had a lot of agency in this arc, which makes me happy because there are certain points in this story where the women, I feel like they could have more agency. And I'm just glad that Nami had a lot of moments that were actually impactful, like in the plot. It actually did something important, you know? But out of the Straw Hats that weren't Luffy or Sanji or I guess Jimbei too, Brook was sort of the MVP of like the side character cast. He gets the poneglyph etching. He survives being with Big Mom and like being her toy. And then he fucking solos her twice and survives both times, and he looks at her panties while doing it the second time. My God, why was Brook so fire? Like, where did that come from? I feel like since Brook joined the crew back in Thriller Bark, he hasn't actually had a lot of like individually great moments yet. I mean, his backstory was amazing back in Thriller Bark, but then, you know, he's gone because everyone's gone through, basically past Sabaody Archipelago, and then he doesn't really do much in Fishman Island. I can't really think of any specific moments from Punk Hazard or Dressrosa. Like, nothing's coming to mind. This is the first time in a while that I feel like he had moments that were like just him doing something, and it's like he's pulling off some really cool move or doing something that is super important to the plot. So I was happy, again, this is another side character that I was happy to see have like a lot of agency in this arc and kind of have his own moments to shine. And yet another side character that far surpassed my expectations for them was Pound, like the 35th husband of Big Mom that was stuck in the ground at the beginning of the arc. And we find out that Chiffon and Lola are his daughters, but he never really got to interact with them because as soon as Big Mom had the kid, she basically was like, I never want to see you again. Goodbye. She booted him to the curb. She yeeted his ass out. And so he's been waiting his whole life to see them again. And he ends up having this super emotional moment when they're leaving. I don't remember which island it is. It's one of the outlying islands of Whole Cake Island. When they're leaving and he sees his grandson for the first time that Bege has with Chiffon, and he's just standing there on the shore after having fought off what's-his-face, one of Big Mom's underlings, and he's standing there and he's like, I'm glad I finally got to see you, even though Chiffon didn't even recognize him, which just, God, what a heartbreaking, like this random character gets such a heartbreaking moment there where his own daughter doesn't recognize him. He's barely seen her ever. And so he's just getting this one little moment of happiness and solace, and then he literally gets fucking decapitated. Dude, are you kidding me right now? Are you like, I had a tear come to my eye. Like, this random fucking guy. How does Oda keep doing it? He can't keep getting away with this. Oda is a menace for that. That man, he's a super villain. He keeps writing in these characters and then making me cry over them. And they're these most random fucking people. He can't keep doing it. I mean, I want him to keep doing it because I love it, but God damn it. All right, I feel like I can finally talk about Big Mom. I feel like I've covered my bases and it's safe for me to get into that because I have a lot I want to say about Big Mom. So I lied in that moment because I forgot to talk about Sanji and Luffy's reunion, where Sanji brings the picnic basket full of food to Luffy, who is basically a mummy, the desiccated corpse in the rain, and they reunite, and Sanji has that moment where he finds him because his stomach is gurgling, and they just make eye contact. Oh, What a fantastic reunion. What an emotional high point in the arc. And I totally forgot to talk about it because I don't know. I guess I must have been smoking crack. That was like one of my favorite moments in the entire arc. And it just went over my head. So I'm just doing it now. I'm editing right now. And I'm just going to throw this little video in. So yeah. First off, her backstory is super fucked, and I have an idea about what actually happened in her, flashback that we saw. But she gets left with this, basically Mother Teresa. I can't remember the character's actual name, but she gets left with her, and it's just like this island of orphans. And at first, you think it's so wholesome. Like this old lady's taking care of them. She's building this community for these kids to thrive. And then you find out that she's selling them to the government. Oh my God! And so from the beginning of her life, Big Mom is super, super powerful, and she's scary because she doesn't understand how strong she is, and she can easily hurt and kill people by accident. And she's always had these hunger cravings, these pangs that kind of drive her into a frenzy. And at some point, the other kids throw like a birthday party for her. They built this cake, and everyone's there, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Big Mom ate them, didn't she? She totally cannibalized them. She 100% ate all those motherfuckers, which is how she got Mother Teresa's Solso fruit, and that's how she grew up with that. It brings kind of a morbid aspect into the story. Maybe there's other people in the story who got their power by cannibalizing someone. I don't know. But anyway, that was a really dark backstory, and they leave it vague as to what actually happened there. I don't know if it's ever going to be, like, actually revealed, but I'm pretty sure she ate them, right? Like, I don't know what else we're supposed to think happened there. I'd say overall, as a villain, Big Mom isn't super grabbing me yet. I don't, like, hate her as a villain, but she's not, like, got anything particularly special about her that's, like, really drawing me in. I do think that her, like I said, her backstory is pretty fucked up. And I think that the whole like craving thing, the whole like hunger pangs thing is scary. She's like a force of nature when that happens. She's so unpredictable, so wild, and she's legitimately scary when that happens because she is so driven and there is practically no rationality going on. I mean, she's capable of rational thought, but her actions they are not rational. She is just full steam ahead. I'm going to get the thing. I'm going to eat whatever it is that I'm craving at that moment. And I think that it's actually pretty interesting the way that when she's chasing the Straw Hats, she's like slimming down and she's slowly becoming like more deranged. And like the further it goes along, even her own family is like, we've never seen her in this state before. We don't know what's going to happen now. And I thought that's like kind of a cool concept that like there's this whole level of Big Mom that if you let her get to this level of craving, like you don't know what's gonna happen. Like she could go, fucking Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan X mode, and you don't really know what's gonna happen. And I also think it's really cool that she has like this whole army of like inanimate objects that are at her beck and call that make her that much more powerful. And it's like I said in the last episode when I was talking about Big Mom, she's put herself in this position where she has so many allies and so many political arrangements that she's almost untouchable. And on top of that, she has a whole army of pretty much just slaves that can be anything. That can be a weapon, that can be an object, that are also at her beck and call, and that just makes her all the more intriguing as an opponent. I don't know so much about as a character, but I do think that she was super interesting in this arc. But I think the most compelling thing about her so far is that she's carried over Mother Teresa. I know that's not actually her mom's name, but Mother Teresa's ideology of like, oh, we're going to bring all the people of the world together. We're going to have them, unite. And she's trying to get all the races unite. But the way she's going about it is so warped where she's going to force you to get along. And if you don't get along, she's going to kick you out. And if you don't get along with her especially, you're going to die. You're dead. So I think it's really interesting how that ideology, she's kind of taken it and warped it to fit her own worldview, which is, I am assuming, something that Oda has taken from real life because that's something people in power tend to do. And the other super compelling thing about her is that this is one of the first characters in the entire series who has a direct stated goal of finding the One Piece, who is in direct competition with Luffy to do that, who is someone who has the same roadmap as him and thinks that by achieving that, they will achieve their ultimate goal. For Luffy, it's freedom. For Big Mom, it's, becoming the king of everything or the queen of everything so that she can unite everyone forcibly. And I think that's so interesting to finally encounter character and oh my God, encounter a character that has the actual same stated objective as Luffy, because we haven't really met many people yet, at least as far as I can remember. We haven't met many people who are like, I'm gonna find the One Piece, apart from Luffy. So yeah, I have mixed feelings about Big Mom. I don't really know how I feel about her as a character so far, but I definitely enjoy her presence. Like, I think that she's interesting when she's on the page, and I don't have a problem with her per se, but I'm not exactly drawn in. Like I said, I'm not exactly pulled into her whole persona yet. Maybe that'll change over time. I don't know. That's just how I'm feeling right now. And I saved the best for last, because now I can finally talk about Luffy versus Katakuri and just go on my tangent about that, because I have a lot I want to say. This was by far the best fight in One Piece so far. I will stay by that. It was incredible. Oh my God, it was so good. I don't even know where to start. I guess my starting point needs to be actually a bit of a backtrack here. I want to address the overall theme of this entire arc, which to me is pretty obviously family. Everything ties back to family in some way, shape, or form in this arc. I mean, it's everywhere. And something that makes One Piece villains really great is that they are an ideological foil to Luffy in a direct manner of some sort. And Luffy's fight with Katakuri is a play on that, because they are ideological foils of each other. They're also combative foils of each other, but in the same way, they reflect each other. Their powers are very similar, and their ideologies are also very similar while also being foils of each other, which is fucking mind-blowing from a narrative perspective. From a writing point of view, that is unbelievable what Oda pulled off there. Because Katakuri has his literal family that he is fighting for. Luffy has his chosen family that he is fighting for. Katakuri thinks that he has to be strong and powerful to protect his crewmates. Luffy thinks he has to be strong and powerful because his crewmates believe in him and he believes in them. They have a shared connection. It's not about protecting them. It's about shared trust. For Katakuri, it's not necessarily about the trust they have in him. It's that he needs to instill that trust in them. He needs to put up this perfect persona to make them trust him. And combat-wise, I think it's pretty obvious. Their powers are pretty much exactly the same, but Katakuri is literally just Luffy, but better with his devil fruit power. It's literally the fucking Akainu and Ace difference of they have practically the same power, but one of them is just clearly superior baseline. And yet another function that Katakuri serves in the story is acting as a literal step stool for Luffy, as a literal goal for him to be chasing within a single fight. He has this power to be able to see in the future. He is better than Luffy in every way, combat-wise, at the beginning of the fight. He can see in the future. His haki is better. His devil fruit is better. He is got the same amount of combat sense as Luffy, so he is clearly overpowering him in literally every single way. And so in that way, he acts as this perfect marker for Luffy to be striving towards. It's just incredible how fast Oda was able to set up all of these interactions between these characters and all these ways that they reflect and mirror each other in just like 20 chapters. And then the fight itself is fire. It's so good. It is some of the best choreography that we've seen in any of the fights. It has Luffy going into like his snake form gear 4, which looks cool as shit. It has them just beating the hell out of each other for 11 hours. That is the longest fight we've had Luffy in the entire series. We've heard about fights that go on for like, a week straight or whatever, but we've never seen anything past like, max 20 minutes, whatever. But this is like 11 hours of them fighting, and Katakuri cannot understand why Luffy keeps getting up. He doesn't understand it. It doesn't click in his mind. He's like, why does this guy keep getting up? What is he doing this for? How does he have motivation to keep getting up even though he's getting his ass beat? And there are levels of respect that come out of that. For one, I think he respects Luffy just because he's impressed by the sheer willpower that he sees on display. And I think another level of respect that he garners is that he realizes that they have similar motivations. They are fighting for their family. This fight isn't about the two of them disliking each other. This fight isn't about them having some direct hatred at each other. It is about their respective groups that they are attempting to help and that they are attempting to to fight for. And I think that once Katakuri recognizes that, he gets this respect for Luffy. And I think the third level of respect here is that when we see what Katakuri actually looks like when he's eating, when we see him laying back and he's got this giant mouth and he's chomping down, and I think that he's embarrassed in that moment and he feels exposed. And it's like this moment of seeing someone who is imperfect. And this whole entire time, he has been talked up to be this perfect man who's never laid down, who's never done anything wrong, who is this flawless, perfect being. And meanwhile, he's clearly not that. And while he's beating up Luffy, he sees Luffy at low moments. Luffy gets his ass beat over and over and over, and yet he keeps getting up. So it goes back to that first point I said, where he's like, he respects him for his sheer willpower. I think he also respects him for not being ashamed of his shortcomings and for wanting to overcome them and being willing to get his ass beat if that's what it takes to become more than he is. He's willing to show this flawed side of himself if that's what it takes to, win and to grow. And I think Katakuri himself was like afraid of that. And the reason I think all of this is because at the end of the fight, when Katakuri falls on his back, I think he had gas left in the tank. Like, that fight could have kept going. But I think all of that respect he had built up for Luffy at that point, he was happy to let him go. Like, he didn't want the fight to continue. And I think he realized that in the end, if it became a battle of endurance, he wasn't going to beat Luffy. So those things intertwined basically made Katakuri go like, I respect you too much to keep this fight going. I think he realized time was running out, and he was like, this man needs to get to his crew. I respect him too much to hold him from that. And besides, if this fight keeps going, I'm probably going to lose. So he just fell over because he was conscious in talking to Brule later. Like I said, he wasn't just passed out cold. And this is the first time that I can remember where Luffy beat an opponent and the opponent wasn't actually just completely knocked out cold at the end of the fight. So I just loved Katakuri as a character. He was so well written just for the short amount of time he was given. And he did so much for Luffy as a character in terms of opposing him. It was incredible. Like I said, I think that most of the good villains in One Piece in some way are a foil of Luffy, but never has there been such a direct foil of him as with Katakuri. I mean, they are directly opposed in so many ways. They are diametrically opposed to each other in so many different facets of their personalities, their beliefs, their combat. It's incredible what Oda pulled off there. I am blown away by what was done with that fight in just 15 chapters. And beside all of what I just said, it's just a hype as shit fight. It's just really good and really well done. You can take away everything else, just the fight itself, remove everything else. It is just hype. It's just so good. It's so fast paced. It is so intense. They are going all out. It is so good. It's just on its own. It's just so good. God, man, the back half of this arc was fantastic, action-packed. I loved it. I gotta say, I am incredibly excited for the Reverie arc. It's only 5 chapters, but I'm probably going to end up making an entire video on it because I've seen some people telling me that I should probably just make it its own video, which the level of hype in my body right now is uncontrollable. I'm probably about to go read it right now because it's only 5 chapters, and knowing that I can make an entire video out of it, oh my god, I bet your ass I'm about to fucking sit down and read that shit, dude. I'm so excited. And I'm also excited to just finally get to Wano. It's been built up for a while within the story, and I am just excited to be there. I'm also excited to catch up. I'm simultaneously scared at the same time because it's a kind of frightening idea in my mind that I won't be able to just pick up One Piece at any point during the day and read a new chapter. I don't like that thought, but I like the thought of being able to soon join the overall discussion with the community, because even just a small community I have here, you guys have been great with to discuss with, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that are caught up that I'll finally be able to talk freely with and not have to worry about going on the Reddit and getting spoilers or looking something up and getting spoilers. I'm excited to have that weight off my shoulders and be able to finally talk to you guys about all the newest stuff going on. So that's coming up fast. I'm probably going to get through Wano pretty damn quick. I mean, I'm probably going to make, it's 150 chapters or something. I'm probably going to make 3 videos. That's no more than 2 weeks of content for me. So I'm going to be caught up pretty soon, guys, and I'm really excited, and I can't wait to be all caught up in the new world with you guys. That's about it for me today, though, guys. I'm sure there's something I forgot to talk about, and I'll try and cover anything that I forgot in the next video if I think of it till then. If you're still around and you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. And until then, I hope you're taking care of yourselves. I hope you're happy and healthy, and I will see you then.